The National Veterans Memorial and Museum began with a vision from the late Senator John Glenn, who understood the value of telling and sharing the story of our veterans. From the initial view, the architecture impresses upon visitors the importance of what lies within. Seeming to rise organically from the earth, the building itself is a symbol of our nation's veterans and their resilient spirit and unending commitment to making this country stronger. Once inside the museum, visitors embark on a narrative journey, following exhibitions that focus on the servicemen and women and their families. Individual stories and shared experiences are illustrated through personal artifacts, quotes, letters, photographs, and powerful films of veterans telling their unique story in their own words. The National Veterans Memorial and Museum. It's more than a museum. It's the new home of the brave. Plan your visit today.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Colonel Retired Bill Butler. I'm the Chief of Staff at the National Veterans Memorial and Museum. I'd like to thank you all for joining us as we conduct our latest iteration of Veterans Voices. And on behalf of our President and CEO, Lieutenant General Mike Ferreter, welcome as we interview Sergeant Major Patrick Payne, the most recent recipient of the Medal of Honor. He was awarded the medal by the President on September 11th, and we are fortunate to have the opportunity to ask him to share his story with us. The Medal of Honor is our nation's highest and most prestigious military valor award. It is awarded to service members by the President of the United States in the name of Congress. The branches of service have slightly different versions specific to the branch. The first medal was created by the Navy in 1861, the Army followed suit in 1862, and the Air Force in 1965. Both the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard award the Navy version of the medal. Since inception, there have only been just over 3,500 medals of honor presented to service members. And in the almost 19 years of combat since the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, only 25 medals have been awarded. Sergeant Major Payne is the first service member awarded the Medal of Honor for actions during Operation Inherent Resolve. Operation Inherent Resolve is the U.S.-led combined joint military coalition in Iraq and Syria to defeat ISIS and increase regional stability. The United States has been leading and conducting unilateral and partnered military operations in Iraq and Syria since 2014. So thank you for joining us. Sergeant Major, congratulations. And we're super excited to have you here. And I'm going to pass it off to Lieutenant General Ferreter.
Thank you, Bill. And Sergeant Major, good morning, and Rangers lead the way. It's great to be with you this morning, and thank you for joining us. As we get started here, I'd also just highlight a happy birthday to the United States Air Force, 73 years young today, and a key partner in helping and working with the United States Army and the Marine Corps and the Navy as we fight our nation's battles. Here at the National Veterans Memorial Museum, the vision was that of Senator John Glenn, astronaut and Marine Corps fighter pilot. And he and those who built this great institution and asked us to lead it saw that we could honor our veterans, their service and sacrifice, and that of their families, connect America to veterans and veterans to America, inspire everyone to something bigger than self, a selflessness that we understand, and then educate the little ones, our K through 12, but we're finding that we're educating at the college level and inside industry and businesses as well. And so today's Veteran Voices is just all a part of that, and it comes in spades as Medal of Honor recipient Sergeant Major Payne joins us today from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So, our Major, how about let's go back a few years and tell us about your childhood growing up and how that helped form the man you are today.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for having me this morning. I kind of grew up in a small town in South Carolina. Kind of split my time between two towns, Batesburg, Leesville, and Lugoff, South Carolina. And typical small town USA, hunting and fishing, playing sports, stay out of trouble. So my brothers are also in the military. So it's a pretty competitive environment back home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so that's about it. Those are the highlights for you right there. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much. So in that sports and growing up and in the world that you were a high schooler in, what was it that inspired you to serve in the United States Army?
You kind of draw inspiration from our veterans community back home. The old timers will kind of take you underneath your wing and kind of coach you up on life. There's one veteran at my parents' church. He's like, "Hey, Pat, it looks like you've seen a lot of combat experience. Let me just I would like to share some of my stories with you." We've had the opportunity to go to some Veterans Day parades together, and that's a pretty special moment coming from a small town. That's important to have that connection. One day when I'm an old timer, look forward to having that connection with the young soldiers coming up. And also the attacks on September 11th. I was a senior in high school for the attacks, and it was a strong call to duty and serve my country, and also just a love for country growing up.
All of us, you, me, Colonel Butler, and all of our veterans out there, we're so privileged over our years to go to some picnic, some Ranger rendezvous, some All-American Week, and see an old timer there, and he'd say, "Oh, I see you got master wings on. How many jumps you have there?" And we might spout out, "I've got 100 parachute jumps." Then you ask them, "How many jumps do you have?" He says, 5, all into combat, right? And so those were the role models that I think you're describing to us. In terms of the men and women that they were, what would you say, characterize them as inspirational to you?
Just their overall character. And, they would, some of them, they still live the Army values to this day, of high legal, moral, and ethical character. And just be willing to, coach you up and be that mentor for me. And so I think that's, going forward in my life, I look forward, to passing down, 18 years of, combat experience to the next generation. And, one time, who knows when I'm retired, could be that old timer passing down, grooming the next generation, just supporting them,
That's amazing. Amazing and awesome. And so many are called, but few are chosen, right? And you were called to service, but very few decide to join the 75th Ranger Regiment. And I served in the Ranger Regiment, as did Colonel Butler. Unfortunately, the Savannah Battalion never worked out for me, though it did for 2 of my sons and many of my friends. What was it about being a Ranger that drew you?
Yeah, I looked at different options. The 75th Ranger Regiment is the United States Army's premier large-scale special operations force, made up of some of the most elite soldiers in the United States Army. And for me, I thought that was the best option. My first introduction to, the regiment and, an Army Ranger was watching the Best Ranger competition, in high school. And I thought that would be an interesting job. Started doing my research, and that was the best fit for me. However, my recruiters will probably tell you that I was the last pick to make it through RIP, Ranger Indoctrination Program, now it's known as RASP, Ranger Assessment and Selection Program. It's now an 8-week course. But they would probably let you know that, hey, we did not expect you to make it at all. And, but that's okay, as long as you believe in yourself and you have the drive. And I think it's all up to the individual.
It really is. Thanks, Sergeant Major. And we say, I will never quit, and I will never accept defeat. I will never leave a fallen comrade. And when we say no to ourselves, it's no for everyone. It's no forever. And when we say no then it's no for the men and women that we lead. And so that drive on, I will never quit attitude. And having been at Fort Benning a few times, we said that, they'll make it hard, but they're not allowed to kill you or eat you, right? And so it is a training and leadership event and opportunity. And for that, we get developed into the next phase of our military and adult life. Can you speak just a little bit about you've had 17 deployments that the notes say that in what I've read about you. It was my experience and often described to us that it's often seems to be like a relay race around a track, but every time we show up, the course is different, the conditions are different, and the enemy in some cases is different. Our partners are different. So describe kind of the journey of your deployments, if you'd like to.
Just talking about just a life experience in general. So I've had the opportunity to deploy as a single soldier, as one that's engaged and one, now married with kids deploying. So just for the family impact, every single deployment's been a little different, and they've had different impacts on my life. And I've also had the, privilege and opportunity to deploy, from the rank of private all the way to master sergeant. So the only time I haven't deployed is as a sergeant major. So that's, to have that combat experience through the NCO ranks and also a private, it's pretty special. Every deployment has been different. They've produced their own unique challenges and also opportunities that you have to capitalize on. But the great thing is the generation coming up, they're going to do their job. They're going to represent the United States military well, and they'll be ready.
I agree with you. I think there's often a different start point based on, the generation, X, Y, millennial, whatever. But when provide a great leadership and solid set of values and a Ranger creed case, they do pony up and they find a way because that's the American way. Can you think about the best and most inspirational leaders with whom you served? You can call them out by name if you want to, or just describe, since they'll get you after this. But you can also just describe what it is that in a heartbeat when you see a leader that you're going to work with and for, or leaders underneath you that they got what it takes.
I kind of go back to the first platoon that I was assigned to, and 1st Ranger Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, ACO 1st Platoon. That was a pretty special platoon. That platoon also was on the Battle of Roberts Ridge, Battle of Takagar, that happened between March 3rd and 4th. There are two Medal of Honor recipients from that battle. However, 1st Ranger Battalion was also on that objective. Our Airborne Rangers in the sky were one for Corporal Comets, one for Specialist Anderson, and one for Sergeant Cross. And so when I showed up to that platoon as a new guy, less than a year after that mission, every single guy had combat experience in that platoon. And I was groomed by some remarkable non-commissioned officers. Most of them were either Silver Star recipients or Bronze Star with Valor. And that was a pretty special platoon to be a part of. They gave me a solid foundation, how to be a warrior, how to be a ranger. They groomed me for combat. They grew me just being a man. Some things your fathers can teach you about being a man, but then, you're passed off to your Ranger buddies, and they kind of grow you and mentor you and prepare you for life. So that's a pretty special moment in my life, just being around those guys.
It is amazing. And then this kind of rolling effect, and they get the best ideas, the most creative and innovation leadership that I've ever observed comes from right at that point of contact, and then you learn to be a thinker as well as a robust doer as well. As you moved up into the platoon sergeant and 1st sergeant ranks, what was it that you looked for? We'll have young officers listening to this. We'll also have our awesome World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veterans, and then all of the veterans from Desert Storm, from Panama, Mogadishu, and this war. So what is it that you looked at company leadership that you liked about good officers and good senior NCOs?
Since we're talking about, up and down the chain of command, it kind of falls back on two things, and that's trust and relationships. You have to have trust throughout your chain of command. It's kind of, how one of my leaders described, this essence of mission command. It's two things. It's trust and initiating the initiative. And I think trust is kind of that center point throughout a formation. And also, kind of like I call it, the three pillars of leadership. It's intuition, innovation, and inspiration. Intuition, you're going to be thrown in situations where you're going to have to fall back on, growing up, how you're raised, the situations you were thrown into that kind of makes you the person you are today. And you have to analyze the situation. You have to be comfortable with your environment right away. And innovation, you're going to be thrown in also other situations where you didn't have time to, prep for that situation. However, you're going to have to come up with innovative ways to solve that problem set. And then finally, inspiration is leadership. And it's a direct connection. You're inspiring each other, bringing out the best in one another, being a great teammate, and just keeping it really simple.
Every day, I think I have the best post-military job in the world because I get to meet people like you and learn from you. That is really, really awesome. And that is what really works. We always find, ladies and gentlemen, that if you say yes to those who want to innovate, it has such an amazing effect, a big effect, 10 times more than you personally could lead or drive people to do, is to allow them and enable them to do. My favorite golf coach says, don't control the golf club, enable it. And so I'm a better enabler in that regard, Sergeant Major. I don't know of anyone in the universe that is a medal bottle recipient and the winner of the Best Ranger competition. I may be wrong, but would you describe what the Best Ranger competition is? And even I don't know if you traveled to Fort Benning as a high school senior or junior, but tie that loop for us, Best Ranger competition.
So in the 80s, the Ranger community kind of came up with, their own games to compete against each other. And they kind of called it almost like a military, military Olympics. So it's a 60-hour competition, 2.5 to 3 day competition. It's very physically demanding on you. You compete as a Best Ranger team, a 2-man team. And often divisions have, only a few slots, maybe 2 or 3 teams per division. And so you often have pre-competitions to the Best Ranger competition. So you're truly competing against some of the best soldiers in the United States military. And as long as you're Ranger qualified, you have the opportunity to compete against each other. And I've learned so much, one, about myself in that competition, and then also, about the Ranger community. For those 3 days, we are not on the same team. We are competing against each other, and we're trying to win. However, between the events, it's good competition. And, after the competition, what's great about it, you're on the same team. You're looking at your tab, you're looking at your Ranger scroll. It's a pretty special competition. I would encourage anyone that's Ranger qualified, to try out, for your division team and, start competing against each other. And it'll make you a better soldier as well.
And so it's not just across teams. What are some of the events?
So normally day one is very physically demanding. Be prepared to put a lot of miles on your feet. And you work on, and also your soldier skills, kind of heavy in marksmanship on day 1 too. And then you make that transition. Day 2 is kind of a great spectator day if you ever have the opportunity to spectate it. However, prepare yourself. It's a 60-hour tailgate. So I've had the honor and privilege of watching one too. But it's a long tailgate activity. So just prepare yourself for that one. So you're going to be a little tired at the end of it. Day 2 is a great spectator day, and also you're working on your Ranger skills. It's normally held on Todd Field in Fort Benning, Georgia. And also you have the opportunity to see, up close and personal with the events and the Rangers competing in that competition. And then day 3 is just the final gut check, and it's pretty brutal. The number between night 1 and night 2, sometimes they switch it up, but one night is land navigation, and you're pretty much spending all night land naviging, and the other night is a long road march, which is very competitive. And so they have 3 kind of main events. They have the Marksmanship Award that's handed out to the best team with the highest marksmanship score throughout the competition, and then obviously the road march champion and the land navigation champion as well.
Amazing. I know that Jeff Strucker, U.S. Army 3rd Ranger Battalion, was also a winner of the Best Ranger, and then in the Battle for Mogadishu received the Silver Star. But I think you stand in a very unique category, Sergeant Major, to have been recipient of the Medal of Honor, as well as shown the natural athletic ability, the super warrior spirit, and the ability, the mental toughness to pull it all together. So very impressive to all of us, and congratulations on that. Now, we've used the word Ranger a lot. We have generations of veterans watching, and who will watch during this next couple of weeks. Describe Ranger School and why we think it's a premier leadership course in the world.
I had the opportunity to go to Ranger School very early in my career, and you're going to learn how to motivate soldiers in very challenging situations. You're going to learn, the basics of combat leadership as well. And I think combining those two is pretty crucial to a soldier's career.
Roger that. Somewhere between 6 and 58 of learning about yourself and while operating in a squad or a platoon. Officers and NCOs all mixed and change out jobs in Ranger School. It gives the officers an understanding of what it is to carry a radio, or be an RTO, or back in the day, or to carry a machine gun or a heavy weapon, and to know that the platoon has to move as a team, move as one, operate as one, not as individuals, when your rucksack is much lighter than that of your young troops and young Rangers. Well, that's amazing. And so during the combat operation in Syria, you received last week the Congressional Medal of Honor. Would you describe the raid and the conditions that set up that raid for us, please?
Yes, sir. So it was in Hawija, Iraq, and going back to the Special Operations Command, we understand that based off our capability, capacity, and reach, we understand that our partners and allies may reach out to the United States for assistance for a hostage rescue, and that's exactly what happened in October of 2015. Based off the intelligence that the Kurdish regional government received, there were hostages being held at a ISIS-controlled prison on the outskirts of Hawija, Iraq. And that's when the Kurdish regional government reached out to the United States for assistance for hostage rescue. So we had a great partner for us. One, we had the capability, we had a great plan, and execution is what we do best. And we had the opportunity to action that raid and liberate 75 hostages and give them a second chance at life in the pursuit of happiness.
And then to the degree that you describe objective, tell us about those actions and what you saw when you first landed and moved out.
I missed part of your question. Came in a little broken on my end, so it might be a little connection. Yeah, I can describe some of the actions by my teammates, surrounded by some of the greatest men and women from the 9/11 generation. And what's special about my teammates, that day, it was pretty special. Every man was engaged in their own unique problem set that night. It was the epitome of a team effort and teamwork. And to the point where one man, I know a lot of people have had the opportunity to hear my stories, but sharing the stories of, my teammates that night is pretty important. Living the Army values, how I described, like, personal courage is contagious on the battlefield. And when we're moving to our assigned building, my team was responsible for one of the buildings that the hostages were being held in. My teammate looked right at our partner force that needed some strong inspiration and courage, and gave the command, "Follow me," and that's when we maneuvered to our building, and hearing those words, it was like almost exactly what you would think of, the whole hand and arm signal, follow me, looking them right in the eye. And that's pretty motivating for me. And then also the actions by Master Sergeant Josh Wheeler that night. He knew it had to be done, and it didn't hesitate. He noticed that our partner forces caught in perfect interlocking sectors of fire to begin taking casualties. And the selfless service of Master Sergeant Josh Wheeler and my teammates that night, they put the hostages' lives above their own. And Master Sergeant Josh Wheeler looked at another teammate and gave the command on me, and they ran to the sound of the guns, setting the stage that we were going to complete this mission.
He sounds like just one hell of a warrior. Personally, what else would you say about your dear friend?
Yeah, it just not only just Master Sergeant Josh Wheeler, but the rest of the teammates that I've had the opportunity to serve with in the Special Operations Command. One, we bring out the best in one another on and off the battlefield, and it just being able to surround yourself with remarkable men. It's they'll elevate you to another level. They'll bring out the best in you, and that's pretty. It's a great team to be around.
We those of us that got old over these years used to describe the great need for personal courage. I've never heard it said as well as you said it just a second ago. Personal courage is infectious on the battlefield. That comes from intuition, which also leads to wisdom. And so your wisdom of actions on the objective and actions on the battlefield are amazing to hear. Describe infectious nature because when you're back in garrison and you're doing PT, charisma counts a lot, and a lot of leaders got a lot of charisma, and then on the battlefield it translates to personal courage that's displayed, or the opportunities given to be displayed. But talk to us just a little bit about how you develop that understanding and wisdom of what that's all about.
Of course, it starts in garrison and training. You try to push yourself to a limit that you didn't know existed. Kind of going back to the best ranger competition. Even to compete in that competition, you're going to have to push yourself to a limit that you didn't know existed, and it starts in training. And also, trying to set up training situations and training environments that are going to be challenging and difficult. And also, when you try to bring out the best in one another, hold each other accountable at times, and well, not at times, but all the time, hold each other accountable, and just be there for one another on and off the battlefield.
That's fantastic. Hey, everybody. I'm Lieutenant General Mike Farrader, and we're here at the National Veterans Memorial Museum. We're in Columbus, Ohio, but virtually we're with Sergeant Major Patrick Payne, Medal of Honor recipient, Army Ranger, an inspirational leader. We mentioned an organization and an activity called the Best Ranger Competition. So you can go to the David E. Grange Best Ranger Competition and be a sponsor and support them, because they support Rangers and their families. You can also go to the Patriot Foundation, a really great outfit in North Carolina who support wounded and families of the fallen, Rangers and other special operators, and run by many of my dear friends there. The National Veterans Memorial Museum, we are a 501c3, and we don't receive any money from the federal government, though we are designated as the national, nor necessarily the state or any local governments. And so we rely on your donations for our programming such as this. But today I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to support these special operations foundations and the Best Ranger competition. And we want to use our platform, Sergeant Major, to assist all those dear folks who are out there volunteering and taking care of our men and women who've given it all for our country. So that's sort of my public announcement for a moment there, and we'll get back to business here in a second. But is there any group that you also know of that you'd like to give a shout out to so that our viewers can contribute to them? And if not, we'll leave it at Patriot Foundation because I know that they'll go directly to you.
Yeah, I'll just leave it with your words, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Airborne. Sorry about that. So now you said in several interviews this past 8 days plus that you see yourself as a guardian of the medal that you're privileged and honored to wear. Give us a little background on those thoughts, please.
Yeah, just how I've described this whole situation, sir. It's being a guardian of this medal, you've had the honor and privilege to serve the country, and you guard the Constitution, you protect the Constitution, the American way of life, and so that's how I'll describe, trying to wear this award well and being a guardian of the Medal of Honor, sir.
We really appreciate that. There's often said that ego is no amigo. And so as you go forward with this, we can see that you're humble and servant leadership will carry the day, both as you represent the medal you now wear and the Ranger Force with whom you fight. Are there any lessons, enduring lessons from what you've seen in the wars that you've participated that you think would be relevant to discuss with our viewing audience?
I've said it before, just be there for each other, both on and off the battlefield, and also find a mentor. Whatever stage you're at in life, just, find that good mentor that's willing to coach you up, through whatever stage in life you're going through. We all go through different changes, and just find that good mentor to help you out.
Airborne, thank you, Sergeant Major. So, as you've seen your Ranger buddies transition and become veterans, and you've met the old salts and the old war horses, what advice would you give to veterans as you meet them and as they get to meet you?
Just getting together and just that camaraderie between the generations, and just building that camaraderie between the generations is important, and that's how we grow as a veterans community.
Thanks, Sergeant Major. We do a program in here called Rally Point. Of course, you'll recognize that phrase and term. And the Rally Point allows us to, when we could, physically bring veterans in and have a brunch for them and let them connect with each other, and then connect to some cause or some activity. And then, and this is September still, and this is still Suicide Prevention Month. And so we here at the National Veterans Memorial Museum are doing everything we can to be a connector and to assist our veterans in activities like the Veteran Golfers Association, like Links to Freedom, out in Spokane, Washington, down the Stretch Ranch with Boone McCann, and so many other great activities in the community. So if you're a veteran and you need to connect, reach out to us or reach out to any or many of these super solid activities. And so as we get to wrap up, we've got a lot of positive comments coming in on the Facebook. Sergeant Major, no hard questions, no out of the left field questions. I think probably, yeah. So Becky Welch says, thank you for your service, Sergeant Major Payne, and respect. So as we get ready to wrap up, what parting shots would you send to our audience, and when will we get to see you here at the National Veterans Memorial Museum in person?
Obviously COVID-19 has kind of ruined some plans for everyone, But hopefully in the future, you brought up Suicide Awareness Month, and also it's important that soldiers and the veterans community, you kind of foster an environment where you can have candid and difficult conversations with each other, and also being there for each other. And so I've had the opportunity to talk with a few other sergeant majors, and we love our acronyms in the Army. And another thing we came up with is like you've got to tee up the conversation. First of all, you have to have trust and lead with empathy and equality, and just be there for each other. You never know when you might go through a difficult time. And one of the best examples I've seen for kind of suicide prevention, one of my teammates told me, hey, I've got a friend that's going through some difficult times. You mind if I surge up there and help him out? Kind of the chain of command support, and we were able to push that young soldier to go help out his teammate that have gotten out of the military. And that was a really good example of just being there for each other. And those teammates have vowed to each other to kind of link up at least once a year, just to show each other like, hey, life is always worth living, and just being there for each other. So I think that's important.
That's awesome. Today, my first sergeant from Charlie Airborne, 1985, will come to the museum and dedicate a bench to his Sky Soldier buddies from Vietnam, and then we'll break bread again, Captain Ferreter and First Sergeant Enfinger, and so that connection goes for everybody. And I agree with you that everybody's working an issue, and as we go through our life, things are going to pop up, things are going to test us, and then we're going to get through it. And we don't have to get through it by ourselves, and we don't have to suffer in silence. So I took another trust, empathy, and equality from it, so we can tee those things up, Sergeant Major. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'd like to thank Sergeant Major Patrick Payne, U.S. Army Ranger, and the living recipient of the Medal of Honor, a warrior leader, a dad, a Ranger buddy. I think the only thing you missed, being a great athlete, was going down to the Citadel and playing on their sports and taking them to an undefeated season, being a guy who graduated from there. I know we would have and could have used your talents, but I think you went the right way and you've done the right thing. So, Sergeant Major, I'm going to ask you to give any final comments and thank you for all that you've done, and God bless you and your family, and Rangers lead the way. And microphone is yours.
I'll just keep this real simple. Rangers lead the way. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. All the way. And over to Colonel Bill Butler, who will close us out. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, Sergeant Major. Great inspirational words and thoughts. So I would like to thank the Army Public Affairs Office, United States Army Special Operations Command, and our local civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army, Susan Green. It was her idea to try to get this organized for our audience members, and without her and the team to get this planned and prepared, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So thank you all. Sergeant Major, congratulations again. Thanks for joining us. A couple of admin announcements for our audience members. Just as a reminder, despite our national designation, we're an unfunded nonprofit, so I'd encourage anybody to, if able and willing, to donate to either membership or support programming like Veteran Voices, so we can continue to bring these sorts of speakers to everybody. Also, today is the opening day of our newest exhibit. It's called We the People, Portraits of Veterans in America by the acclaimed watercolor artist, Mary White. She traveled to all 50 states and painted one portrait of a veteran, representative of that state. They're amazing portraits, and she's a really, really talented artist. And then on Monday, the 21st of September, is our next Red Cross blood drive. Our nation's critically short of blood due to thousands of blood drives being canceled because of the pandemic. 1 pint of blood saves up to 3 lives. So I'd encourage everybody, if able and willing, come to the museum, donate a pint of blood, or if you can't come to the museum, support your local Red Cross in that capacity. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Have a great day, and Rangers lead the way.
All the way. Thank you, Sergeant Major.
Wars aren't fought by countries. They're fought by people. Now, hear their stories in their own words. Honor their service in your own way. At the only museum in America that gives a voice to all our veterans. The National Veterans Memorial and Museum. It's more than a museum. It's the new home of the brave.